Welcome to the Real Talk with Andile Sinqoto.
Power, or whether it's the producer who's contracting the crew member or actor and that bargaining power. So that's why, for example, in America, the reason why they can push it is because they have collective bargaining agreements.
That's true.
So if I sit down with the producers and the broadcasters and the whoever else and we hash out a contract, that would be my greatest dream, because then we're all on the same page. At the moment, you have the producers who want this and the directors who want this and the actors who want this, and everybody's fighting because there's no standard. And the only way to get that standard is to get, for example, the ability to do that, which would be the Department of Employment and Labour. Just to mention, you talk about Netflix, but you specifically talk about Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix respectfully decline a meeting with Saga because we want to talk about the producers who are taking advantage of us.
Because they work through the producers.
They want the producers to take the rap.
Who did you talk to at Netflix?
I spoke to Netflix Netherlands.
No, but who? Like which department?
Policy, all of them.
Policy, yeah. That's
So
what you should, yeah.
We've spoken. We had a meeting when they first came into the country. Great, this is what they want to do. These are the people they want to connect with. We have to, help the industry. The next time, a couple of years later, we have the producers who are getting dodgy with clauses in the contract, with all kinds of practices around Netflix, around how they're treating actors. You have agents who are fighting on every single Netflix job in terms of the contract to get really good terms, not interested. Netflix say no, Netflix say no, Netflix say no. We go, okay, cool. We want to speak to Netflix. If you're saying no to the producer, then let us speak to them. 3 weeks later, the response is, we respectfully decline a meeting. Please speak to the producers.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing for me is, we sit at SASFED. So we sit there with the IPO and the Writers Guild and IBFC and everybody. And we had a really, really amazing Indaba earlier this year, where we are all on the same page. But unless you have resources to action it, we are all volunteers. Nobody here is being paid to do the work. So I only have so much time to be able to dedicate free time. And we know all of the organizations are run by individuals who are volunteers, and there's volunteer fatigue. People fight and fight and fight, and eventually, I'm out. So that is the transformation that needs to start.
Yes.
That says change is coming.
Yes.
And it's part of a hashtag Saga's got at the moment.
Yes.
Change is coming. Come hell or high water, change is going to come.
Yes.
How are we going to do it? How do we include the youth? How do we include transformation between black and white and gender and all of the areas? And the only way we can do it is if we have the same vision, and that is, it needs to be different.
Yeah.
So just to pick up on Ngani, obviously, we are really passionate as the South African Guild of Actors to make a difference. And that's why, 14 years later, we're still here and we will continue to be. And there have been some wins. And there will continue to be some wins. We are the only organisation who is putting in submissions to Parliament for whatever the various bills are and the legislation and the change and all of that. But the one thing that I want to encourage is we do know what's going on. We do know what the issues are. We understand where the shift needs to be. Can we stop talking all the time and start with action? What is the action? When are we going to meet? What is the time? When is that submission going to be ready? Can we do? People like to watch other people do. Can we come together and go, what can I do? Not what are you going to do? What can I do to contribute? As an actor, what can I do to make my industry better when I'm engaging in this work?
Yes. Yeah.
Producers are only going to do what's best for them. What can they do to make it better for everybody else? Unfortunately, our industry is very much isolated in what works for me. What do I do? How do I contribute? What's important for me? How do I pay my rent? But me paying my rent is not going to help you paying your rent if we're both in the same issue.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about action. Well, we are in touch with SAG-AFTRA.
Okay.
We are very close with SAG-AFTRA. We've actually did a podcast with them as the strike happened.
Right.
They've come to South Africa in support of Saga for the past 10 plus years.
Right.
I was actually with them in September at the International Actors Federation, which is the international umbrella body of all acting agents.
Right.
They have no say here.
Yes.
As they don't have a
That's the
say
thing.
here, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the thing.
As SAG-AFTRA, right?
No, they have no
But
say here.
their members are still bound by the guilds.
Not if they are under a local hire contract. So if it's a South African actor who's also a SAG-AFTRA member and they're working on a local production, they don't have to abide by SAG-AFTRA rules because there's Global Rule 1, which means that they can work under local hire. So the producers in South Africa insist that local actors do not sign a SAG-AFTRA contract if they are SAG-AFTRA members. They will only insist that you sign a local hire contract. That goes into your points for the DTI rebate so that you're seen as local, and they will not even speak about royalties. They won't speak about any of that.
In
So
fact, there are clauses now in the actor's contract introduced by producers that say you may not belong
to a
any
union or a guild.
Any guild that may be involved in collective bargaining. We didn't introduce that. That appeared by the producers. They've just inserted it into our contract.
Yeah.
And
So-
that's because
And
of
you
the
just
studios.
accept it?
We
Yeah.
don't have a
Just to
choice.
eat or
But that's
not.
what I'm okay. But that's my offer. Like
No, I hear that.
that's my
Yeah,
offer to
no,
say.
we need to catch up about where
Sorry.
this conversation has developed
Yeah.
over time.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
There's a
Just.
lot that's been
Sorry.
discussed.
Yeah. Just.
Sorry, guys, I
just-
really need to go. I've
yeah,
got a meeting
uh,
at 2:00.
Just in closing.
Need to
So
pick
I
up the
believe
kids.
that all this conversation, it leads to one thing: our industry needs the government to step in for at some point. It doesn't matter at which stage or how they step in, legislation, whatever. Because they are the ones that they can put laws. SAGVA
Yeah.
can come, DGA can come, but they can never put laws in our country
Sure.
for our people. The only people that can put laws in our country for our people is our government. So I'm not sure if you agree with me that at some point we all agree that we need
Intervention.
intervention
From government. Yeah.
from government to enforce some laws in our industry.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. So that was
Thank you so much.
so let's just take a picture quickly.